All right, guys, here's the last intraday report for January. Uh, let's take a look at Google here, just to make me miserable here. We got out of this trade. I actually liked this hammer that had formed, but earnings were coming up, and our idea for trading earnings is we wanted a little bit of cushion. We didn't have that, and then bam, we got the big move here. So that's going to happen sometimes. Nothing we can do about it. But the good thing about it is, we identified this bottoming formation earlier. We've got these circles here showing positive volume. We got this breakout kind of pullback, got the hammer, and now the breakout. So this is still on our watch list now, and we can play a pullback here if we get one. Otherwise, we can watch the top of this W pattern here in the 540, 545 range, and maybe watch for a breakout there and play a bigger move, and maybe play a breakout of the 200-day moving average. Let's look at SPY now, hanging out right around 200. Really nothing significant here. We got not much of a move. We would have expected a bit of a bounce here, which is why we made those 4 trades yesterday. And luckily, 3 of those trades have bounced, and we took quick profits. And I talked about that before. Yesterday we were entering these positions and we were just looking for quick profits, quick turnaround, a departure from what I normally do. I'm kind of focusing on smaller profits and a higher win rate, and it's really just an adaptation to the market. We talked about adapting. The end of last year, we were getting these gains and giving them up because of just the way the market is, and we have to switch it up. You can't do the same thing. Even if that is your bread and butter, you can't always do that and expect to be a winning trader. When you see that you need to adjust a little bit, this is a temporary adjustment. Once things get back to normal, we go back to the normal way of trading. And I've updated the 2015 trade journal here. And what you're going to notice here is usually we'll talk about this later. Let me just hit it real quick because I've got some emails about it. Usually I'm looking for those bigger gains, and this year so far, although it's a very successful month, up almost 6%, almost $6,000 here off a $100,000 account, which is pretty good. And we've got the high win rate, which I don't really care about usually. I've said it before, I'm fine with a 45% win rate as long as I'm getting that 2-to-1, which I'm not really looking at right now. And you can see here, I haven't really even focused on it. Usually I'm so focused on my risk ratio, I haven't even bothered to put it down here recently. And I've only got that one big win where I would rather see is maybe 2 or 3 of these big wins and maybe some more losses even. But very different this time. I'm taking these smaller gains, quick gains, with high probability setups. So the win rate's about 80% now, and I don't expect this to continue. Eventually, I'd like to get back to the bigger wins and actually more small losses, which I don't have right now. Over time, that's what you need to do to be a successful trader. We just made that adjustment right now. Going back to the market here, let's look at what we traded. We traded Nugget here, and I'm having a little bit of a problem with my internet connection. Let's see if this pops up. But going back here, this Google trade was a small loss, and I know some of you are wishing you had stuck with that position now. But again, we're looking at things over an extended period of time. We're not looking at it one trade at a time. We're looking at what's going to work in the long run. And in the long run, it's probably best not to play these earnings breakouts or play earnings pre-release. So we don't mind that small loss, even though it would have been. We can kill ourselves and look at it right now. It would be about a 25-point gain. So we'd be looking at a pretty decent sized win right now. Let's see if anything's improved here. There we go. So we can see here Google, the big move up. Nugget, which we traded today, I think we got in at 1684 at the end of the day. Got out at 1784, just that point gain. And Habit, same thing. We got in yesterday at I don't remember what the exact numbers were, but it was a 1-point gain up here, and we'll look for a pullback, and I will play this one again. Same with Nugget. If I get the pullback, I will play it again. Still at the forefront for the watch list. Let's look at SPXU. you know, we already reviewed SPY here. We've got a little bit of a gain. We're at 39.30 for the entry. It's at 40. We're still looking for a move up to 42 on that one. DIG, we are still in right now. This is the only one from yesterday that I'm still in. RGLS, we also got that gain there, about a point gain. DIG is the only one we're in based off this hammer here. And this one, I might actually play for a little bit of a bigger move because I love this bottom formation so much. And we've got that hammer here, even though it's not, it's been back and forth here, not super strong right now. I would have liked to see it bounce right away, which we haven't got. But again, I think I'll look to 50-51 for this one. Let's quickly look at our earnings breakouts. See if we're anywhere close to an entry. QSII is pulling back kind of hard here, so I'm going to hold off on that. I was looking at the high tight flag up here, and it's pulled back a little bit. A lot of these are pulling back. CYN is kind of in no man's land. So here, when this starts to happen, one, we watch for that gap fill, which is still a ways away, but we also watch for a confirmation. So if we get a bullish engulfing or a tail, then we can consider entering here. INFN, still like this one. This one I may play at the end of the day as a bottom of the range play. So that's the one I really like right now. X, maybe steel becomes that bottoming formation. We've got that range forming there. And I posted on my own website a post about how to trade Apple. And if I'll quickly go over it here. If we look here, the last time, this was I believe an all-time high here, around 103, 104. When it broke from that range, when it closed above that level, you got a 15-point move in less than a month and a half here. And that's what we're looking at again. We've got the breakout. You could play a breakout pullback and then try to get through that range. But now we're looking at 120. We want to see a close above 120. If we get that, we can enter with the expectation of another 15 or 20-point move. And the nice thing is we can place a stop maybe 1 or 2 points below that if we get stopped out. And so, you know, a failure, no harm, no foul. We take a 1 or 2 point loss, no big deal. But if we do break that 120, and history with this stock tends to repeat itself, we could get a nice 15 or 20 point move in a kind of a longer swing trade. So that I'll be watching for that today. A close over 120. I got a lot of emails when it hit 120 today. That hit your target. Well, I wait for. I've talked about this a lot with you guys that I'm not so much looking at the intraday level. I want to see where this one closes. So if at the end of the day today it's at 120.30, I'll enter, which again, I know it's hard for a lot of you guys to think, oh, I could have got in at 119.20 and now I've got to get in at 120.30, but you're waiting for that confirmation to give you that higher probability trade. So that's what we'll be watching for Apple. Habit here, we've talked about that one. We want to see a little bit of a pullback. Loco, I like that one. We want to see a little pullback. I'm just going to hit some of the stocks that are on our list. Kemp is at the top of the range here and actually could be forming another box, but still kind of at the top here. So we want to see a pullback. But IPHI is right in that range we like. I might consider this one. Maybe I'll take, just for the heck of it, I'll take a small stab at it. I don't mind taking a few little hits there. WBAI, a nice bottoming formation. This is another one that we like. We've talked about Google. I don't want to look at that one again. Now, LinkedIn is bouncing nicely off that hammer. A little bit of a pullback would be a nice entry. And let's see here. Those are the ones I like the best right now. So LinkedIn, WBAI, IPHI, RGLS, Loco, Habit, the ones we've traded before, Nugget. And let me quickly look at EDC. Actually broke down below 20 days, so we'll forget about that one. So those are the stocks we'll be keying in on and looking at the close. And I'll have more on the analysis of the trade results here. Don't get on me if I don't post these entries right away. I did it today because it's the end of the month. I want to at least have them done at the end of the month, and then we can review what's happened over that month. So we'll do a review this January, and then at the end of February, we'll do the same thing. So that's it for the intraday report.